Hey, hi Latoya.
Hey, blood work bestie.
How you doing?
I am absolutely amazing. Looking amazing, feeling amazing,
Amazing.
smelling amazing. Life
I
is
knew you was
just
gonna say that.
amazing.
That's your intro.
You know what it is? I've
That's
adopted
your
it, and I
intro.
love that I've adopted it. I've made peace with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I swear, every time you on cue. Every time.
Listen. It's just it's life. It's just so good. I almost said something. Keep talking.
All right. Well, tonight we're back again in light of Mental Health Awareness Month. As we mentioned,
Yes.
we'll be back again this week. So
Yes.
this week we are touching on a subject that is very, very necessary
Mhm.
and sensitive as well. So
Yes.
one of the most important things to recognize in highlighting Mental Health Awareness Month is suicidal ideation in dealing with someone who is suicidal.
Yes.
I just want to take this episode to kind of bring light to that and so that everyone feels supported if they are experiencing suicidal ideation or if you are the person who knows someone who's suicidal. Um, Latoya has her time when she'll chime in, but I'm just going to start off by discussing how to recognize suicidal ideation or suicidal thoughts if someone's having suicidal ideation. Even if they don't have a plan, just understand that that's still someone having suicidal ideation. You don't have to have a plan. It's more common for people to think about it
Yes.
and not necessarily have a plan. And
Right.
some of the signs or things that you can recognize in someone who is suicidal would be they would be more isolated, losing interest in things that they normally enjoy, giving things away like valuable things, and or just talking as if they're leaving and never coming back, like saying goodbye. You know, Latoya, do you have you ever had a patient who was suicidal or that you had to deal with before?
I would definitely say for sure.
Yeah.
And it's not always the most outright comment that they make to let you know that they are considering taking their own life or harming someone else. So it's not always as direct as I think whenever someone hears the terms suicidal ideation. You think of someone saying, "Hey, I'm going to commit suicide." And it's not always that blunt. They're not always that blunt. So it, has usually happened in a matter of conversation. So, you just having a conversation with someone, a client, or, a loved one or anything like that. And, it's cues, it's certain things that they say, like, you know what, no one will have to even worry about me anymore. I'm not even gonna worry anybody anymore with my issues. um it won't be long, from now that I won't have to worry about this anymore, or it won't be long from now that people won't have to worry about me anymore. you know those types of think you muted, boo.
That's funny. I was just saying that that was on point because that's what I was talking about with the saying goodbye or talking about being a burden. So yeah, that's so you've heard it or experienced it with your clients before, someone in your
Mm-hmm.
career. Also just emotional signs of someone being suicidal, like feeling numb, hopeless, lost, or feeling like they're invisible. Nobody can relate to them. They can't relate to anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, sometimes people with depression or suicidal ideation will be having sleepless nights or sleeping too much. So it really kind of varies based on whoever the person is. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people have a lot of fatigue. You'll notice appetite changes. And then, like I mentioned, just not wanting to participate in things that they normally enjoy. A lot of people, though, Latoya, are functioning while silently suffering. So, especially in the community of highly achieving individuals, men and women. A lot of men are under a lot of pressure, and especially in the African American community, in the healthcare field in particular as well, because we see a lot, we do a lot, we give a lot. And also sometimes we're caretakers even at home. So you're a caretaker at work, caretaker at home, that's a lot of pressure and um a lot to hold up to, a high standard to have to hold yourself up to. So
For
they
sure.
suffer in silence and don't feel safe, like there's a safe space for them to
Right.
express themselves or go to someone who would understand what they're going through. So
Exactly.
if someone does reach out to you or come to you, of course you would be that person's confidant,
Mhm.
and that in itself can also be heavy.
Yes.
Being someone's confidant, being the person that person calls when they're feeling, hopeless or feeling like they don't want to be here anymore. So it's important to talk about what to do if you're in that situation. If you are the person that someone confides in, and the first thing you want to do is take it serious, right?
Yes.
You don't
Yes.
want to, brush it off as, oh, that you tripping, or,
Mhm.
you say that all the time. Definitely take it serious, but
Mhm.
just know that you're not meant to carry that burden alone. It's
Right.
important to understand that encouraging that person to get professional help is number one,
Mhm.
because you want to be sure to provide that support, because you don't want to be regretful later.
Right.
So because
Right.
you are that confidant that they reached out to, you want to play your role. It's not pressure on you to keep that a secret.
Right.
It's something that you need to emphasize in protecting that person's life. It just emphasize the point that protecting your secret is not worth more than protecting your life. So you
Right.
definitely want to choose protecting their life
Mhm.
first. And a
Mhm.
way that you can kind of express that is like explain to them, like, listen, I love you too much to stay silent. I'd rather you be mad at me and alive
Yeah.
than, not here and gone, and we can't even address the issue. So
Right. Right.
a lot of times people are in a hopeless space, and they're not thinking clearly as
Right.
they would if you would be talking to
Exactly.
them on a different day. So sometimes a lot of that pressure weighs on them.
Right. And I have to chime in right here because when you said they're not thinking as clearly as they would be on a usual day, that's
Mhm.
why it's very important in that moment that you stay calm and that you are actively listening, right? So those keywords that we talked about before, no one will have to worry about this much longer. Nobody will have to be burdened with me. You won't have to worry about it anymore. Everything is going to be just fine tomorrow. Things like that. That's when you want to dig a little bit more while you're staying calm. So you don't want the tone of your voice to elevate. You don't want it to go lower. You want to stay calm and be peaceful in that moment so that you can truly find out where they are and if this is really something that is serious. Because as Sweet Tea MP said, there are people who are currently walking on this earth who once did hear these words from someone and who felt like they were just this person that they loved was just going through a tough time. They did not want to feel that they were, not necessarily supporting the person in the moment. So they didn't do anything or they didn't tell anyone. And then that person went on to take their own life. And that's a guilt that people carry when they know that they were the last person that someone who actually took their own life spoke with. And these signs were clear to them, but they just didn't take them seriously. You want to be their confidant, but you have to remember because they are not in the mental space that they usually are, that they are talking to you because one, they trust you. And that means that they're trusting you to make the best decision for them because them actually coming out saying it to you is their cry for help. It is them saying to you, please help me, without them saying, please help me, or I need help. So even if in that moment you don't, necessarily want to say, you'll be mad at me now, but you'll thank me later. you can get more information from them, and then you can report it appropriately so that you can make sure that they're safe. And as they start to feel better and start coming to themselves, then you can let them know, hey, it was me. I was the one who did that for you because I felt that you were not safe in that moment and I wanted you to be safe. But asking those direct questions, when did you say that everything was going to be okay?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to, which I know that we're trained, and it's like, well, do you have a plan? Do you have a plan? Right. And
Right.
sometimes people in that mental space is not as direct. They don't take those questions well. So, when did you say everything was going to be okay? You said
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow. So what's going to happen tomorrow?
Right.
What's so special about tomorrow? Right. And then usually, well, you know what? Everybody's going to be okay. I'm not going to be, they might say, I'm not going to be in this world anymore,
Mm-hmm.
something like
Mm-hmm.
that to let you know. And then that's letting you know where their risk level is. Like, hey, they're talking about this
Right.
tomorrow, which means I need to tell somebody today. But if it's someone telling and Sweet TMP, you're very this is definitely your niche, with people just letting I'm just ready to give up. I don't, this is so hard. That's letting you know that people are hopeless. And in that way you can kind of get a feel for, is this somebody that want to take their own life, or is this someone whose mood is really low and maybe they're going into a depression?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I just want to chime in real quick to say that trying to determine that thin line of is it or is it not, the best thing to do is just come directly out and say, hey, are you suicidal? Are you thinking of ending your life? Do you have a
Right.
plan?
Right.
So that there's no gray area, especially when dealing with someone who's suicidal. Like, the best thing to do is just to come out and ask that question blatantly to the client or whoever you're talking to, because
Mm-hmm.
people really do feel disconnected
Uh-huh.
and from disconnected from their purpose, and they're in a dark space. So sometimes bringing just that question alone strikes them like, dang, am I really thinking this way, or is it just, I'm going through this and having a bad day? So that's a good point you bring up, and just being blunt about it and coming straight out is the best way to address that.
Right, right. And making sure they're safe, like they're in a safe place. If it's someone that owns weapons, and if it's someone that you're speaking with now in a professional setting, you won't know. So you will have to be more direct. But if this is your family, your friend,
Mhm.
or someone who you just met who's attached themselves to you, and they're, communicating this to you because they feel that you would be a person they could be safe with, then you need to, come out and ask, do you have any weapons? Do you own a gun? I remember asking a friend of mine, is your gun put up?
Mhm.
And then their response is, what? What are you saying? Because listen, in the moment, I just need to make sure that's not what you're saying you're going to do. Right.
Right. Right.
Especially in a situation such as theirs, that was a pretty severe situation, a pretty challenging situation in life. And when you start, speaking language that lets me know that your mind and your thoughts, are in a really dark place, then
Mhm.
it is my responsibility, my human responsibility, to make sure that you will be safe and that I can connect you to, immediate professional support, so that you can maintain your safety, right? So that I can help maintain your safety. And then, it's also necessary sometimes to help create a safety plan, right? So like, okay, I hear you. I know you're saying this is what you want to happen. So, I'm gonna, make sure that they're in a headspace where they're not trying to harm you either, so that you can help them create a safety plan. Like, hey, can you get some clothes on? I'm gonna come and get you. I'm gonna take you somewhere, take you to a place that we can make sure that you can stay safe. That type thing. If they're not in a position to where they're going to hurt you as well, you always want to stay
Mhm.
safe.
Mhm.
I'm a big advocate for activating EMS. I'll tell you that right now. I will activate EMS and have them to come to where that person is. But if this person's reaching out to you in that moment and they're, speaking in a way you've never heard them speak before, you know, then you have to really evaluate the situation if it's safe for you to put yourself in that situation. Like if someone comes
Yeah.
to your house, if they come to your house and they're like, hey, I got these thoughts going on, I don't know what's happening, I'm feeling this way. If it's really they're recognizing that their mental health is thrown off, then activating EMS is the way, right? So you
Right.
make sure that they stay safe. Emergency rooms are definitely trained to care for individuals who have some suicidal ideations, and they've created some teams now, right, with law enforcement, sweet TNT, who become trained in knowing how to speak to people who have, let someone know that they want to take their own life. So they're actually trained in how to actually talk to them. When I had to activate for a client, I'd let them know, like, hey, this person does not have the best relationship with law enforcement. So I don't know if you should just send them in there directly, because
Right.
I don't know if that would go well. But they sent a team out that was trained in knowing how to speak to someone who has said they were going to take their own life. So they maintained being calm. And they actually did very well with this particular client. So I was very pleased. And very
Yeah.
impressed, for sure.
Yeah. I feel like that definitely is situational. Well, depending on the state that you're in, they do have those
Mhm.
specialized teams. I wish they had it everywhere, because that really, I'm sure,
Mhm.
makes a big difference when dealing with someone who's having a mental health crisis. Having
Yeah.
someone specialized or trained in that area to come in
Mhm.
and see the
Mhm.
person.
Mhm.
Latoya, go answer your door.
It's answered.
All right. So anyway, but just being yeah, so having someone specialized and trained to come out to deal with that person is very important, because that is sometimes a barrier for people reporting that someone is feeling suicidal or having suicidal ideation, because as you mentioned, everybody don't have a good relationship with law enforcement. So it's, and also in the African American community, we've seen things go left way too many times.
Right.
So
Right.
that definitely is something that that is probably something we should think about more, as far as when you're planning or have a plan. When you talked about creating a plan for that time when you do have to um involve someone else in helping this person get the help that they need. So just kind of having that in the back of your mind, like, what would I do if that, if your friend or someone that you deal with on a personal level has history of suicidal ideation or could possibly be suicidal, then it is good if you're that confidant or that person to kind of think through, like, what would I do in that situation? Because you never know when if that call comes through, like, what are you going to do? It's a lot of
Right.
pressure. It's heavy.
Right, right. I mean, and that's why it's important to, understand that confidentiality can be broken if a life is at risk. I mean, we're taught that as professionals, but I'm telling you that as someone just in the community with people that you love, and that you are around and that you engage with, adopt that rule as your own too. Listen, we're bros, you my sis, whatever the case may be. But if
Mhm.
it's a situation where your life is at risk, there is no confidentiality in that case, because I love you too much to see
Right.
you hurt yourself. And then, don't try to minimize their pain in that moment, because it makes you uncomfortable. So instead of saying, oh, it's not that bad, oh, don't worry about it, girl, or, bro, don't even, don't talk like that, you don't mean that, because you don't want to hear them say that, right? So you're trying to minimize their pain because you don't want to hear them say that. But it's okay that they express that, because understand they came to you because they trust you to do what's right to make sure that they're safe. But you are not a substitute for professional help, for expert opinion when it comes to that. You're not a professional expert in that type of care. So you want to make sure that they're in that environment who's qualified and who's conditioned, and the environment is appropriate to make sure that they can protect and maintain safety of that person's human life.
Yeah, and then not only just thinking on the level of you're not in that profession, but you don't want to put that pressure on yourself. Like, what if it don't go the way that you thought that it's gonna go, and then you feel like I should have done more, I should have, you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't even recommend you putting that weight on yourself of being the person who try to figure it out for that person. Like when they're in that space, sometimes it takes a little bit more than just the talk, or a little bit more than what you guys have done on other occasions. But people being having faith or belief or a sense of calling in life, those are things that kind of help bring people back down to okay, I do have a purpose, I do want to be here. Prayer, meditation, affirmations, and sometimes just being in silence and just um breathing or taking a moment to yourself, because sometimes life is just too overwhelming, or just dealing with situations in life can be too overwhelming. And restoring that connection to something bigger can give them something to fight for, something to stay here for, something to change their mindset to try to adjust their situation to be here longer, so that they can make a better choice of wanting to live versus trying to end their life. I
Right.
also want people to don't wait until it's like that crisis moment,
Mm-hmm.
when you know how you feel like things are just piling up, things are getting worse by the day.
Yeah.
Don't wait until it's that crisis moment to get help. I want to normalize therapy. Of course, I always encourage
Yes.
therapy for everyone.
Please,
uh,
listen, I got to interrupt, Sweet Tea
okay,
MP.
what girl?
Please, African American community, let us normalize therapy. Understand that it's very, very healthy. It's very, very healthy. And as of late, as you see here, we have an African American woman, Sweet Tea MP, double board certified, okay, family nurse practitioner and psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner. So there is now diversity when it comes to someone actually talking to you, listening to you and to your feelings, and someone that is relatable as well, with family dynamic, with dynamic in friendships, with parenthood, with marriage, with life, and with pressures. So let us normalize having a healthy state of mind,
Mhm.
right? Let that be something that you encourage within your home, within your family, within your friend circle, within your community. Let us normalize that a healthy state of mind is okay. And that helps us to live a better quality of life. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, Latoya, that's very important. I definitely agree 100%. So normalizing therapy, if it's coaching or a support group, journaling, things that regulate your nervous system, setting boundaries. I think we talked about that a few times, setting those boundaries, whatever it takes to be a part of your mental health maintenance, to maintain your mental health. Um, Mindfulness exercises, like we just talked about, calming the nervous system, things such as breath work. We've talked about breath work before. I like to do what they call it, the box method. You breathe in for 4 seconds, breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, and exhale for 4 seconds. And then you can do 4 rounds of that. That brings your body out of that fight or flight mode. And it physically calms you down. It slows your
Mhm.
breathing, calms your nervous system, and it interrupts panic. So if you're about to have a panic attack or something like that, this grounds you and bring you back down to a more calmer level.
Yes. And that's very comforting, by the way. I've
Yeah.
done breath work and actually documented in my book right here and Against All Odds how that was one of the many holistic measures that I use to heal myself from pain,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Because it helps in that moment with anxiety. It helps you to take control of your pain and not let your pain control you. And that's mental pain, that's physiological pain in your body. But breathing helps, you also be able to get that oxygen exchange going, and you to be able to, have oxygen to penetrate your cells, to penetrate your brain, penetrate your nervous system. And it helps you to think clearly in that moment, because usually when we're feeling something, an emotion very deeply, it will cause you to either hold your breath, or you will start to what we call hyperventilate, which is breathe really, really quickly. And in those moments, you're not really getting a lot of clarity and as much oxygen as you need to flow to your brain to get you to think on a rational level as you would if you weren't in that situation. So that is an amazing, amazing technique.
Yeah. Also, that brings me to movement. You know, trauma is stored in the body, emotions are stored in the body, everything's your body's memory, muscle memory. So gentle movement like stretching,
Yes.
walking, dancing, all those can help release tension.
I
But
love
also,
it.
yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah.
therapeutic. It's
Yeah.
therapeutic.
Everybody
Moving,
doing boots on the ground. I think that's why we booting on the ground. We're booting on the ground because we need to release some tension. Okay,
right?
kicking up dust. Then the song say,
Where them fans
where
at?
the,
Huh?
where the,
I wish I had. What you got, Latoya?
you don't want to know.
Oh Lord. Okay, Latoya, focus.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
back to so. Also, I know you mentioned like having that person, that confidant, or we were talking
Yes.
about that. So that one person to reach out to. You know, a lot of people feel like I don't want to bother somebody or nobody understands what I'm going through.
Yes.
You want to encourage this person that you know, when you talk about having that circle, those people around you who support you, pour into you like you pour into them, be sure that you have people around you that you feel comfortable with and that you can, when you are in need, you have someone that you can reach out to and try to kind of open up that conversation, especially if you know sometimes everyone deals with stress differently. So sometimes you know your friends or you know your people who might not handle stress so well, or you know are dealing with a lot, and it's just like I want to be that support system. I want to be that person that they reach out to.
Right.
So having them understand that you're just a text or a call away,
Yes.
something as simple as a text or a call, because it doesn't need to be overwhelming for them in that moment to where they are
Right.
just overwhelmed with the thought of even reaching out to you about what they're going through. So
Right.
a safe word or a code word
Mm-hmm.
is good. You know, something just as simple as mangoes, or I love to eat a mango, or something, just whatever it is that you guys have discussed before. And or today is one of those days, I need a reset, just whatever phrase or word it is to let you know that
Right.
your friend or whoever it is in need, and you
Right.
immediately, whatever it is you got going on, whatever it is you're doing, you stop and you check in with them.
Right. And
So
that's
like,
why
oh, go ahead.
genuine friendships are important as well, because you want to make sure the person that you call friend is the person that you can call on. Do you
Right.
understand? And call on to help make decisions for you in a situation such as this.
Mm-hmm.
This is a good time as you're listening to this to reflect on who was in your circle, and
Right.
the people who I talk to on a regular basis, or the people who call me on a regular basis. If I was in a situation where I felt like I didn't want to live anymore, could I call them and could I trust them to make sure that I was safe and I got the help that I needed? Could I make sure that this friend had my best interest at heart? So genuine friendships are really important for more reasons than, just someone that you can talk to when, you need someone to talk to. But it can be
Yeah,
life or death. And you want to make sure who
absolutely.
you're surrounded with definitely has your best interest and your safety at heart. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true, because who you're surrounded with, I'm sure you're pouring into your circle.
Right.
Like, you want to be sure that someone can be there for you as well. You don't want to be
Right.
the only person that everyone calls on, because usually
Right.
that's the person who's suffering in silence, as we discussed
Yeah.
earlier.
We're
Yeah.
strong
So,
friends, Jesus.
mm-hmm.
Us strong friends.
Right,
Us
right.
strong friends are the ones that friends pull on, family pulls on, everybody wants advice from. So it's important, that we make sure that we have a support system, a true support system for ourselves, and that we have a healthy state of mind as well. Okay.
Yeah. when you mentioning the mind, the brain thrives on rhythm. So creating a rhythm, creating a routine kind of helps give your body a sense of safety and control. So it helps regulate your nervous system, and that's what people who are in that just survival mode, go are missing sometimes.
Yeah.
Just kind of encouraging people to do that and understand that you are not alone. You have
You're
someone that
not.
you can reach out to.
You do.
Suicidal thoughts are not shameful.
Yeah, I know.
And yeah, really when you do start to have suicidal thoughts, a lot of times it's like, dang, am I like, what's going on with my life
Mhm.
that I'm in this space where I'm
Yeah.
thinking having these thoughts? So it kind
Yes.
of, it definitely is an eye opener. It's a signal that something's going on, something needs care, something needs attention. Like
Right.
now, you know,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. And again, bringing up, and I can speak on behalf of the African American community, but there are other communities as well that, these thoughts are taboo, which means that people look at you like, what's wrong with you? What's happening with you? So
Mhm.
you don't really feel like you can get the support that you need, or you're afraid to come out and say, listen, stuff is hard. I don't know how this is going to work. Maybe it would be better if I wasn't in this situation, or maybe my kids would be better if I wasn't the parent taking care of them, or maybe my spouse deserves someone better. Those are thoughts that are leading you down the path to feel like you need to remove yourself from this earth and from the lives of the people who you care about. And if you can think of someone in your family, I know I can, sweet TMP. I don't know if you do, but I'm sure you probably knew of someone that has taken their own life, and then it's something that's kind of kept hush hush, which means that the family is not really speaking on it that much because no one really understands what happened. And
Mm.
it's a very difficult thought process, to wonder what happened. Why did they make this decision? Did they not feel the love from us? What could I have done better? When you find yourself replaying different scenarios in your mind about this person, and again, that's why we said at the beginning, you want to make sure if they have said something to you, that you're the person that makes sure that they stay safe, because there's too many people walking this earth wishing they would have, said something to the person in their family, in their friend circle that took their own life, and to understand that, it is okay. It is okay to let them talk to you about it, because now you're hearing this, you know what to do, right? That's the important thing.
Right. Yeah, and then also providing them with the suicide hotline
Yes.
988. That's an easy number to just text from or call from any phone. And then of course, if you feel like you are suicidal or having thoughts of suicidal plans or anything like that, of course you report to the nearest ER, or in case of emergency you can call 911. But having that person, like you we talked about, having that confidant, that person to kind of help guide you through, and that person's responsibility of getting you the help you need already set up, you know what I mean, like already having that suicidal plan for someone who's maybe experienced suicidal ideation before or deal with mental health, or is just going through a lot, because you don't have to have a history of mental health
Yes.
problems
Yes.
to
Right.
become suicidal one day. So it could just
Exactly.
all be too much for you, just depending on what you're going through or what situations you're going through. But of course, I offer therapy consultations. I offer medication management for mental health as well. I'm practicing, seeing patients in the state of Mississippi, Colorado. I accept most insurances, and you can schedule a 15-minute consultation. You could do that through my website, www.eternitywellness22.life. You
Mhm.
can reach out via phone 228-641-2449, or DM me across all social media platforms. I'm Sweet TMP on Facebook, on Instagram, and TikTok as well. I just want to bring awareness to this topic. I want people to know that it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to seek help. There is a safe space for you. Reach out and I am available. Latoya, do you have anything you want to
Absolutely.
say?
Yes, and also understand, which we have touched on this before, being the blood work besties, we both are really experts and consultants in reading your blood work, because a lot of these thoughts that you have, some people are like, I don't even know why I think like this. It really does come from a chemical imbalance in your body.
Oh, absolutely.
So a lot of the medications, a lot of the psychotropics that we call them, that are prescribed for people who have depression and anxiety,
Latoya, I think you're frozen. Let's see. Latoya, let's see if she can log back on. Sorry, guys. There we go. Okay, she's back.
I don't know what's going on here. It looks like it's two of me. Is there echo?
Well, hold on. Let me. Okay.
So what I was saying is, like, the depression and the anxiety actually comes from a chemical imbalance. In your, a lot of the medications and psychotropics that are prescribed, what they're doing is balancing out the chemicals in your brain, in your body, right? So understand that your blood work will show what exactly is knocked off or what is imbalanced in your body, to help us make sure that we have a plan for you, that we can use natural supplements to actually help balance those things out, and not necessarily medications that are prescribed. So just understand that if you are feeling depressed, definitely want you to get safe if you're feeling like you want to hurt yourself or you want to hurt someone else. But recognize, if your mood is super low, it could really be in your blood to let you know, hey, something you've exposed yourself to has knocked your chemical balance off.
Mm-hmm.
And so we can actually analyze that and look at that for you, because it shows up. I mean, things such as low vitamin D,
Mm-hmm.
okay, can cause you to feel like a really low mood. Your thyroid, which is the gland in your neck that releases, hormones and chemicals to different parts of your body, telling your skin to look flawless, telling your hair to stay moist and to grow, your nails to stay strong and grow. It tells your intestinal system how to move, and eliminate waste and things like that. It tells your heart how to beat correctly. If that level or that hormone level is off, that can also cause a very low mood. And again, that's for some people who are like, well, I feel like my life is okay, but I just have this feeling like I'm hopeless. I don't feel like there's an end to anything for me or a solution. So just understand that it can also show in your blood work. But I definitely encourage you, if you feel like you want to hurt yourself, someone else, you want to make sure you reach out to that number Sweet Tea MP gave you. Or if it's someone that's in your family or your close friend circle, you want to make sure that send them this video. That's a key. If it's somebody in your life who has been telling you that their mood is feeling low and things like that, send them this video so that they can know, for one, they're not alone, and for two, there is help out there for them, where they can actually be supported, and knowing that they are, not by themselves in the way that they feel, and that it could in fact be a chemical imbalance.
Yeah. And I just wanted to point out that the things that you discussed about it being something physically going on in your body, that is absolutely true. And it's not to minimize what you're going through or how you're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
You may be absolutely dealing with something that's maybe the worst time of your life, or you're experiencing something that caused you to feel more depressed or more sad. But I think the point that Latoya was trying to make is that if you already are at a low because of something chemically going on, and you're off and you're not where you normally function, things can seem way worse than what they would normally seem if you were at your optimal level of functioning, right? So the root cause, you were talking about the root cause blood work analysis, right, Latoya? Yeah. So not to minimize anything that we discussed here, but just to kind of let you guys know that your body is a whole, seen as a whole. Like, that's what the point of the approach of functional medicine to mental health is to see your body as a whole, not just the symptom or whatever you're experiencing in that moment, but everything's connected, and you definitely want to look at everything from a large a broader point of view, like look at everything holistically. Latoya, did you need to shout out anything before we wrap up? Because I'm about to wrap up.
Well, I know the main thing for me again was just driving home that you maintain your safety, and that there are friends or family that are actually verbalizing hopelessness or feelings of not wanting to be here anymore. Now you know, and you have the correct steps and the safe steps to follow to make sure that they get help. If you like information like this, Sweet Tea MP and the Bloodwork MP, myself, the Bloodwork Besties, we will be going live. I think we have 2 more lives for the rest of this month. 1 more live.
Mm-hmm.
For the rest of this month. So we've been going live every week to provide you guys with information. If there's something that you want us to talk about, we will make sure we keep you anonymous. Inbox myself, inbox her, and we will actually utilize that as our topic to bring you guys information. And starting next month, we will start going live once per month. So we want to make sure we're answering the questions of the people, right? And giving you guys the information that you need. So if you have burning questions about healthcare, it really does not matter. Personal questions for a friend, a family member. Maybe you just don't want to put them on blast or anything like that. That's completely fine. Inbox us and we will actually give you the correct and proper information on how we can help them or how they can get the help that they need. So we'll provide you the resources needed.
Absolutely. And remember, love is the highest frequency. And sometimes healing begins with just simply being honest about the pain that you're experiencing. So feel free to reach out, as we already discussed, and we will see you guys next week. Bye.
Check our stories for when.
Chanell Love 22. It's a vibe. Like, follow, and subscribe.
Disclaimer. The information shared on the Chanell Love 22 podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only and is not medical advice. Neither the host, guest, nor the podcast assumes responsibility for any actions taken based on this content. Listeners are strongly encouraged to consult a licensed healthcare provider before making any changes to their health, including medications, supplements, or treatments. This podcast is intended to comply with applicable regulations. However, it is not a substitute for legal or medical advice specific to your location. Listeners outside of the United States should ensure they follow healthcare guidance and regulations relevant to their regions. Thank you for listening, and remember, health is wealth.